Okay. So microgrids can get really complex. And I think we see that. There's a lot of custom engineering. When I was working on a lot of projects, I would joke to say, hey, when you've seen one microgrid, you've seen one microgrid. Because everyone was different. Everyone was designed different. And we've definitely seen like Julie and Joe's firm, they've gotten to the point where they're making things more repeatable. It's not that engineer to order custom meet, every single one because it becomes expensive. It becomes expensive, takes a long time. But we do see, different mixes of technology. There's a lot of, as people try to get into the space, like, well, what do I need to do? Do I have to be a programmer? Well, there's programming that needs to be done, but then you saw those one lines. There's people who need to put together the architecture. Doesn't have to be licensed engineer to do that. It could be a solution architect is typically the title. But they go through and put together a system architecture. How's it going to operate? What's the sequence of operations? And then you have the designer who actually goes through and stamps the entire system. There's a lot of things I always think about first is the use case. What's your goal? I always ask my customer that first thing. What's your goal of doing this? The majority now has been capacity. Grid doesn't have capacity. I need X amount of power. But if you're working on a project at a hospital, that's a pretty interesting question. I think you're going to get different responses depending on the person. The CFO will say, save money. The operations person will say, because there's a new law through Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services where you can use batteries to lower batteries and solar for part of your backup power at a hospital. They'll say, hey, I want to use backup power because I want to try to minimize my diesel. And then you'll have somebody in sustainability will say, hey, we're worried about carbon emissions. So you're like, whoa, whoa, you're hitting everything here. But there's a lot of different stakeholders. So, identify who are those stakeholders, what's the goal of the project, and really get them all together.